Hello, BookTube. Well, it's a bleak and barren Sunday here at Hyde Cottage. And for those of you who might be new to the channel, that means it's a day with no mail, no free books, nothing coming through the slot. And so Steve has to amuse himself in other ways. As usual, to pick up my spirits, I thought I would do a tag. And I found one that consoles me on this particular day. It's called the BookTube About Me Tag. So you can see why I'm consoled. It's my favorite subject. And I saw it on Manda the Glittery Nerds channel, and it was created by Harriet Rose. And if I remember, I will try to link both those channels down below. Because once I found them, I did a little looking around on them and liked a lot of what I saw. And it's just a series of 10 questions relentlessly about me. So we just get started. Number one, what do you study? What is your job? The first part of the question obviously is aimed at the fact that so many students are on BookTube. I haven't been a student in a long time. My job is reviewing books. That's what I do for a living. Question number two, what is your favorite social media channel? BookTube, of course. This is got to be some sort of trick question. But maybe it means other than BookTube. But I'm still an absolute newbie at, for instance, Instagram. I just started to get Instagram and have no subscribers and follow virtually nobody. And that isn't even touching on Snapchat. Good Lord. Don't even know what that is. Haven't even tried it yet. So I'll say BookTube. Question number three, if you had another channel, what would it be about? You know, this is almost a question for the rest of you, not for me. I don't think it would be about anything. I don't think I would have another channel. If I did, I don't really know what it would be. I don't go to movies anymore. Occasionally, a friend of mine who works in Hollywood will send me a screener for a movie, but that's poorly timed for a movie channel. And what else would there be? Cooking? Gardening? No. Crafts? No. The one thought I had to give a try, to try something, would be a separate channel devoted to book reviews. The one thing I don't do on this channel. But I don't know how I'd make that work, and I'm not sure how of interest it would be. I wonder if I could get anybody in the publishing industry to pay attention to such a channel. I don't know whether I could or not. They seem fairly dead set against it, but then the other day, I made a comment on a video about a book from Da Capo Press, and they noticed it and talked about it on social media. So it might not be impossible, but I don't know. I think I'm right where I want to be in terms of one and only one channel. Question number four, do you play any instruments? No, I don't, and I wish I did. I wish I had the aptitude for it, but I just don't seem to. I've tried, and I just don't seem to have the aptitude for playing instruments, for cooking, for gardening. Anything that requires that kind of switch in your brain that I just don't seem to have. Question number five, what hobbies do you have other than reading? I know this is the most boring answer to this question in the world, but I honestly don't have any hobbies other than reading. We can't call writing a hobby because I write for money. You don't do hobbies for money. Isn't that terrible? I want to say mini golf or something like that, but there's nothing. I take care of my dogs and I read. Let's just move on to the next question. It's downright embarrassing. Let's see here. Question number six. Your favorite TV shows? I don't watch any TV shows at the moment, but the list in the past, oh my God, it's endless. Everything from All in the Family to MASH to Mary Tyler Moore to Star Trek in all of its incarnations except for Star Trek The Next Generation, Deadwood, The West Wing. Oh God, the list just goes on and on and on. Rumpole of the Bailey. But I think if I had to pick number one, I would punt and go for purely sentimental reasons. And it would be The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. I think that would probably win. uh, I'm not exactly covering myself with glory in this tag, am I? Well, we'll see if things get better. Number 7, what got you into reading? I've mentioned on this channel before, I had one teacher. I had one amazing teacher who showed me that reading is a world, that reading is an adventure, the greatest of all adventures. And he didn't have a willing pupil at first. He was infinitely patient, and he was sarcastic, and he was challenging, and you couldn't shake him off. The more you told him about yourself, the more of an arsenal he had to get you to challenge yourself. And he was interesting, and he was funny, and he combined all of those things into this net that he caught people with, and they were never the same after that. Once you were grappling with him, no matter how things worked out, you couldn't go back to the way you were. And it's an incalculable debt. I will never be able to pay it off. The only way you can pay such a debt is to pay it forward, and that's what I try to do. But it was one person, and he went through things systematically with me. So as much as I admire all the autodidacts out there, I can't claim to be one. And then I fell into the hands of the Jesuits. It was all over after that. Question number 8. What are your favorite or least favorite genres? I hate to say least favorite, because in every genre there's always been something that's jumped out at me, something that's been done really well. I was reminded of that just recently with a baseball book, a book by Terry McDermott called Off Speed, about pitching, about the aspect of baseball that is pitching. And it was a little thing, and I was going to hand it off right away to a baseball fan that I know, but I thought, well, why don't I read it first? I haven't read a baseball book in a long time. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. That's a very salutary reminder that can happen at any time, whether it's golf books or, lifestyle books or anything, even business books. You never know. But those sorts of things would probably top the list as my least favorite. Unless we're going to make a whole new genre for YouTube books. If that's true, then it wins hands down, because they are just wretched, just unspeakably wretched. A whole bunch of 22-year-olds trying to sound profound for 200 pages with lots and lots and lots of pictures and very wide margins. Just absolutely absurd. But in terms of favorite genres, well, that's not going to come as any surprise to anybody who's watched this channel. Big meaty histories and big meaty biographies, but the stuff where the authors poured their heart and soul into the subject for 5, 6, 7, even longer years, and produced their summation, their summa of what they have studied. I love those books, just love them. They challenge all my preconceptions. They bring to bear all the earlier examples that I've read. I just love it. It's a fantastic experience to read. So I'd probably say biography and history, provided it's not dashed off. I want it to be serious. I don't want, a 198-page book on the history of the color red. I want, a 1,200-page book on the history of the Mongol Empire. That's much more my cup of tea. Question number 9. What books define your childhood? None. They all come later. No books in the childhood. And question number 10, got all the way to the end. Tell us an interesting fact about you. I don't really know what would count here as interesting. There are all sorts of factoids about me that are a little unusual. I don't know that they rise to the level of interesting. I can resolve images and reading specificity in what you would consider to be darkness. My sense of hearing is much more sensitive in the upper ranges than yours. My sense of smell is the most sensitive one that has ever been detected by a 2-legged creature at Mass General Hospital. I have almost no sense of touch. I don't have a blood type. I've been everywhere except Australia in the world. Seen all sorts of animals. Experienced all sorts of natural disasters. Uh, little tidbits here and there, unusual things, but interesting. I'm mostly an old man who sits on his couch and reads all day, so I'm afraid interest doesn't really enter into things. uh, and that's it. That is the BookTube About Me tag, and all that's left for me to do is tag people. And I have a list here, but the list could be endless because these questions are great. I tag, let's see here, who did I list? Elisa from Paper Bits, Britta, Jennifer from Insert Literary Pun here, uh, Jason from Jason Purcell. He's made noises recently about coming back to BookTube. Do this tag. Tell us all about you. Adam at Memento Mori, if he ever sloughs off the flesh pots of the East and comes back to making BookTube videos. Richard Reeds, the Mega Man Chief fan. I'd love to hear these answers. So consider yourself all tagged, and anybody else, if I've ever asked you a nosy question, feel free to fire off these answers. And that's it. And it did perk up my spirits a bit to talk about myself on a bleak and barren Sunday. So I'll be back next time, hopefully with more books to show you. Thank you, BookTube.